The Colts are splitting reps at quarterback. Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones, they're obviously competing for the starting job. They are going to split first-team reps in OTAs, and potentially that extends through training camp and maybe even into the preseason. Now, this is a concerning idea, right? Because really the question is, when is this competition going to wrap up? We have no idea when this competition would end. We don't know who would win, right? The old adage is that if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback, right? I spoke on the Daniel Jones decision a couple weeks ago. I didn't really like it. I thought that we should be going all in on Anthony Richardson. I think that this year is the final year where there's no injuries and there's no benchings. And this year, in year 3 or 4 of Anthony Richardson, this is when you know. If you go all in on Anthony Richardson, if you put all of the eggs in the basket of Anthony Richardson and give him every possible resource and tool to succeed, he's either going to succeed or he's not, right? Either the Colts are in the playoffs and they show improvement, or they're not. And they're back where they were at 7-10 or whatever it would be, and they would struggle. Then 100%, you have the understanding that you're done, right? Anthony Richardson is done. We're moving on from Anthony Richardson, maybe Chris Ballard and Shane Steichen as well, but at the very least, you need to reset at quarterback. And then you look to the draft, right? Then you look to free agency, something like that. I would argue look for the draft, and you restart, right? But the Colts, if they're in this situation where they split reps with Daniel Jones, what if Daniel Jones wins the QB battle? Let me even put this in the other direction. What if Anthony Richardson wins the QB battle and he struggles throughout the season, right? And then Daniel Jones steps in, right? And then at the end of the season, the Colts miss the playoffs by a game again, right? It's the 8-9 year, whatever. But then in the back of your mind in the offseason, you're wondering, what would have happened if we had gone all in on Anthony Richardson? I don't know. Because you understand the fact that you're not going to win a Super Bowl this year, because you understand the fact that Anthony Richardson probably isn't ready yet, and Daniel Jones probably isn't your guy. So if you're going to win a Super Bowl, it's probably going to happen in the next few years, and it's going to happen to Anthony Richardson because this team is young, but it's losing its years, right? Jonathan Taylor, only getting older. Quentin Nelson, Michael Pittman Jr., they're all only getting older. This is a team that has a core and has a set of players that I think are capable of being a playoff team and capable of being a team that wins multiple games in the playoffs. The question is, do they have the centerpiece at quarterback to actually make that happen? And that's the question we're trying to answer this year. And I think that you have to answer that question in 1 year. And I think that if you split reps between Daniel Jones and Anthony Richardson, if you split time during the season at starting quarterback, Daniel Jones is on a 1-year deal and he's not your future, right? And Anthony Richardson, if he struggles this year, he can't be your future either. But if there's a question lingering about whether or not he could be the guy, then you have the question of whether or not you roll into 2026 with Anthony Richardson again. Now, best case scenario is somebody wins this quarterback battle, they win it early, and they're awesome throughout the year, and we go win a Super Bowl, right? That is the best case scenario. I don't know if that's going to happen. The pros of this decision are the true competitive pressure you're now putting on Anthony Richardson, right? Daniel Jones isn't a winner, quote unquote, but he did win a playoff game. He is a more veteran quarterback. He's stepping in and giving Anthony Richardson clear competition, and you know that because they're splitting reps half-half, right? Now, both players are also still understanding and installing some of these plays and these concepts, right? It's not like they're going to be a step back mentally, but maybe from a chemistry perspective they will be, because only half the time you're throwing the ball to your receivers and being protected by your offensive line, the same guys that are going to start for you in the season. So whoever wins this battle, in my opinion, right, they're not fully going to have the chemistry that they should have with their team in order to harbor success. They also have slightly different skill sets. I think it might be difficult to translate from one to the other. You can't just fit one into the system and another one into the system. Anthony Richardson is more of a running threat, right? He's a more mobile guy. The way the two of them play football is a little bit different. Now, obviously, they're both playing quarterback, and that's the important point. But that I could see being a chemistry issue and imbalance as well. Either way, whoever wins, they're going to have less experience. They're going to have less chemistry with their players and their teammates, right? And that could lead to mistakes in a slow start to the year, and this is a season where the Colts cannot afford a slow start to the year. Anthony Richardson is young. Daniel Jones is new. They both need their full capability and their full production and their full opportunities in training camp, in OTAs, in the preseason. I worry that we're not quite giving that to them by announcing this as a 50-50 conversation, unless the competition is won early. And that is the caveat here. If the competition is won early on, then it's totally fine, right? If the competition is won right away and in OTAs or in training camp very quickly into it, it's clear that one of them is winning the quarterback battle and will be the starting quarterback, then it's okay. Because then you can give one of them, full starting reps and they can be prepared to roll into the season as the starter and be awesome and take this team to the playoffs and beyond. But if this competition extends through to the preseason and beyond, then you're running into problems. And then you have two quarterbacks, which really just means you don't have a quarterback at all. Somebody's got to win this right away. And if they don't, and this is a situation to monitor as the season progresses, if they don't, then the Colts are running into issues as we encroach into the fall, right? That's what I worry about with the Indianapolis Colts. That's why I worry about this decision to split reps and OTAs in training camp. I'm not sure if the Colts are fully prepared to have a starting quarterback that could be playoff or Super Bowl caliber yet. I have my disagreements. I have my gripes with the Daniel Jones decision for the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, on the other hand, this is his last year. This is his last chance. I want to give him a full opportunity. Or maybe Daniel Jones just overtakes him right away. I have no idea, but them splitting reps concerns me. There's very clear pros and cons to the situation, and I'm interested to see the way it plays out, and it really does depend. How this impacts the actual game season in the fall will partially depend on, and significantly, substantially depend on, how quickly either one of these guys overtakes the other, right? How quickly does either one of them actually win this battle? How long that takes is going to have an impact on the season and games and results and stats and all of that in the fall, and that's what I worry about with the Indianapolis Colts.